Hello and welcome, friends, to episode 7 of JoeShine's Let's Play Kerbal Space Program Career Mode. We find ourselves high above the view of Minmus, looking down onto one of the frozen lakes where we landed at the end of last episode. And so we're going to pick up right where we left off, as we need to get our intrepid Kerbonaut Burrod home. We've put him back in the ship. He had a nice, fun time exploring. I already transferred the scientific data from our goo containers and the materials bays. Picked up all those and transferred them into the ship. I went ahead and did that off camera because in the extremely low gravity of Minmus, that was just a pain in the butt. That took a while bouncing around trying to get close enough to each of these things. So we are ready to go home. Now what I've done is I've turned off these outer engines, the 3 outer engines, because I don't want to be worrying about them right away. I'm only going to be bringing back the center engine. I'm going to be dropping these in a moment, so I'm not going to be needing them, and I don't want to have them mess up my understanding of what my available thrust is. What I've also done is transferred all of the fuel from these outer tanks into the central tank. I actually had to burn off a few units to make sure that everything would fit without leaving anything in the outside that would unbalance me. So we're ready to go. We do need to be careful because in the impressively low gravity of Minmus, a simple thrust on this from the ship is going to be very easily too much, and you can fly off into space farther than you need to, and then you'll just have to correct, wasting more fuel. So you wasted too much getting up, you burn more correcting, so we just want to be cautious with it. And we'll head home. I'm going to ditch those, point roughly east. Turn on our stabilization. I'm going to kick this up a little and then turn that off because, yeah, that was, look at that. That was already nonsense. Whoops. I was saying it and it was already too much. So instead, rather than worrying about trying to circularize this orbit or do any crazy stuff with it, we're just going to burn to drop back into orbit around Kerbal. So the moon Minmus is traveling in a counterclockwise direction around the planet, which means to slow ourselves down, drop into a lower orbit, we want to be going in the opposite direction. So from here on our path, going to burn to take ourselves against the rotation of Minmus. And we have plenty of fuel, so I'm not terribly concerned with the obvious waste here. Not a big deal. But we do have a few minutes to go, so we will accelerate time, and once we get going, we'll have a few other things to talk about, because there have been some updates since we last spoke. This doesn't really need to be exact, so I'm going to go ahead and just get this going. And close enough. We are coming close to the orbit of the moon. Possibly, but possibly not. We just might be off. Yeah, so I'll need to do another burn, but let's move away from Minmus before worrying about that. So when we started this series, we were in KSP version 0.23. That was, among other things, the science update. And that was one of the big changes. But what we have now is there was another update. Now everyone was asking, oh, is this 2.4? Is this the big, what's happening next? It's very exciting. It's a joint project with NASA, actually, and what's going on is this is the ARM, the Asteroid Redirect Mission. It's inspired by, I guess, speculations and plans and hopes and dreams of NASA itself to identify, document, and actually retrieve and redirect an asteroid and bring it into Earth orbit, where it can be studied. This is not good. I'm almost interacting with the moon coming down close. So just dropping the periapsis. We have more than enough fuel for all of this, but we'll try and get this into the atmosphere, so we'll aerobrake and come down nice and easy. Close enough. No worries. So this wasn't 0.24. This was a separate update. However, so much actually was introduced that I believe the official designation is that this is the 0.23.5 update. And I'm not really sure why they didn't just call it 0.24 and move everything else back, but that's fine. The significance is that we've got new parts, we've got new... oh, you know what I did here? Okay, I put my maneuver node on the wrong orbit, but oh well. We'll just fast forward around and hope that we don't interact with the moon coming down here in a way that it will... Oh, good. Right, so this is inspired by collaboration with NASA. What are we doing? We have some new objects in space to find. We have asteroids, and they're in different classes defined by size. I don't think there's any distinction between in their composition yet. That may be a later thing, I don't know, but right now it's A through E defined by size, with A being the smallest and E being the largest. I don't know how big the E asteroids are. I know that I'm just going to go ahead and do this burn because we're impatient. That was startling. Interacting with the moon. It's scary. Oh, drop that node. Drop it. There we go. What is our... Oh, we don't have a periapsis because we're impacting the moon. Awesome. Let's actually... I don't like that. That's a little scary. And also, I feel bad habit to get into because eventually deadly reentry will probably be a thing, and I don't want to, be terrible at this when it does come up. Sure, why not? We'll leave that there. Use our RCS thrusters to bring it down a tiny bit. Alright, there we go. So, we're fine. And now we're going to come in. I want to make sure that there's nothing else we need here. We do have more than enough battery power because we're not really using it for anything. Oh, right, this was a nice little touch. You'll see your selected flags appearing on certain parts, which I think is kind of cool. Yeah, this has been emptied. We don't really need any of this anymore, so yeah, we are good to go to come on in. So in order to go out and find these asteroids, what we have access to is a whole bunch of new parts inspired by the NASA SLS program, the Space Launch System. These are gargantuan parts, bumping from 2 meters up to 3 meters. And so, size 3, I think, is the designation, because I don't know if it's actually exactly 3 meters. It could be. Not sure. But we've got new fuel tanks. We have new engines. We have the launch escape system. There's a little emergency nose cone with an off-center engine to throw your capsule, your command pod, off of a rocket if things go haywire and you need to abort the mission. So that's cool. There are also some changes to maneuver nodes, which I haven't fully explored yet, but we'll see how strange and interesting those are when it comes up. And also, I believe some changes to the time warp system, making it less likely for catastrophic physics failures, I believe is how one person put it. Right? Yay. Also, something that I'm enthusiastic about and happy to get a chance to play around with is a change to the way that large parts connect to one another, making them much more sturdy. It used to be in the past that you would have to, well, you didn't have to, but it would be advisable to overuse struts on simple, stacked connecting pieces. Let's bring our AppWaps's figure up so we can see what we're doing here. How quickly we are decelerating. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to changing the struts. That'll be very cool. And all in all, this seems like it's going to be a very interesting update. I think in our playing of the game, one of the things, we had talked about visiting all the places, and we will do this. I think that part of our goal should include the asteroids. I don't know at what point in the tech tree you will get access to the redirect mission parts. Specifically, I think there's a grabber and the big engines and whatnot. I don't know when that happens, but I think that what we should do is plan for one asteroid in each class, A through E. Go there, identify it, grab it, and put it in orbit. I think will be our goal. So we want to end up with 5 asteroids, five asteroids becoming 5 new little moonlets in orbit around Kerbal. I think that'll be cool. We'll see how complicated that is, and if this will be a feasible plan. But for now, let's just bring Burrod home. We will see how much our first landing mission earned us in terms of science, and we'll see what we want to unlock for future missions. We'll just go ahead and fast forward down to a gentle splashdown at a sedate 6 meters per second. And sploosh. Welcome home, Burrod. Recover that vessel, and we have earned how much science? Wow, we earned 594 points of science. That was cool. All right, I did not think it was going to be quite that much, but neato. All right. So let's go research and development. And yes, we did say that we're only doing 2 things each mission, between each flight. So how about solar panels? We'll research those. And you know what? We'll think about the rest. Until next time, have fun. Game on.